They told me this course was flat, but shortly I'll be slipping through the mud on a course with more elevation gain than the entire Berlin Marathon.
3, 2, 1, parkrun!
And with that cheeky little false start there from the man in black, we are back in the UK for Brickfields Parkrun in Bath, but this time on an alternative winter course. As you can see from my slipping and sliding, attempting to run, mostly just aggressive ice skating on mud, that it's wet and muddy here, and I'll be very glad once we're off it. In fact, these are the final few steps we have on the grassy path until the finish line. I'm taking a wider corner here to try and avoid slipping down this hill, and hills are a theme of the day. Despite what my dad says, he claims that this is a flat parkrun. There are 74 metres of elevation, which is more than I ran in the whole of the Berlin Marathon, so to me, this is a hilly one. The course is essentially an out and back, as you'll see from the trace in the lower left hand corner of your screen, but only going halfway up the hill the first time, before heading all the way back up on our second lap. My dad was actually meant to be running with me this morning, but he conveniently twisted his ankle last night, the length some people will go to not socialise with me. But first of all, we're going down to this first U-turn, and I'm sitting comfortably, or perhaps uncomfortably by the sound of my breathing, in 6th place. My heart rate monitor is on the blink again, but Polar has reached out to me, so I have a replacement on its way. Up ahead, you can see two blokes have shot ahead. I'm going to try and be sensible here. I don't want to get too carried away because I do not cope well with hills. I'm just going to sit into this little pack and take it at my own pace. I'm trying not to look at my watch too much, as it's never easy to pace correctly anyway when you're going up and down. I'm going to go around this little corner, a little bit of argy-bargy there, and I'll go for a little surge to push past these three. At this point, I realise I'm not going to be cruising away from people, so I'm just going to sit back in as we start to see the rest of the pack running in the other direction. It's a lovely course on the old train tracks in Bath. This parkrun is actually less than a year old, so definitely recommend giving it a go if you're ever in the area. And we're coming up to where we first joined the track, and we'll be taking a left and continuing up the hill. I'm going to sit on this bloke's heels as the heart rate monitor finally kicks in at 172, and we're not even a kilometre in. This is, once again, all aboard the pain train, which seems to be suitable for the historic use of this course. First, second and third are just in front of me. I didn't realise until I looked at the results, but none of these blokes are older than 20. One of them is a third of my age. I'm certainly being shown up by the younger generation here. I'm representing the 35 to 39 year olds, showing there's life in us yet with a first kilometre of 3:34. I'm probably pushing it a bit harder than I should be, but I'm just going on feel today. I want to be keeping it to like a threshold of uncomfortable, painful, but not so much that I die before the finishing line. It's a beautiful sunny day in Bath at this point, though I had forgotten my sunglasses, so it was a nightmare running into the sun. However, we're just about to turn around and head back down to the lowest and most northerly part of the course. One thing you see being back in the UK is a lot more vests and shorts. I think the British love that look a lot more keenly than the Germans do. Speaking of, my mate from Germany, Tim, just ran past in a Hertha Berlin top. I had no idea he was here whilst running and only clocked him when we crossed the finish line after. Bath Parkrun always offers paces. You can literally rock up and sign yourself up if you're comfortable running a set pace. I actually thought about it briefly, but I had no idea how to pace this course with all the ups and downs, and plus I fancied pushing it a bit, which you can't really do when you're pacing. You'll have to keep an eye out for the U-turn coming up, as the runner in first place does a Japanese U-turn. I've thought about trying it to keep momentum on downhill turns, but halfway through a parkrun on camera was probably not the time to practice, as I'm almost certain I'll take a tumble the first time I try it. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever given it a go, and be sure to like the video whilst you're there. Kilometre 2 was a 3:44, so I'm averaging just over 3:40 per kilometre. This is spicy. With the longest uphill yet to come, I don't think I'm going to be holding on to that. Second and third place don't seem to be pulling away too much though. It's getting chaotic now as I try to overtake tail walkers while squeezing through the midfield runners coming back the other way. Of course, this is an open course with cyclists and other users too, but that's all part of the fun. If I'm a little slower than normal, I can always put it down to the chaos and not the fact that I'm not as fit as I want to be. person who was leading in the maroon shirt seems to be dropping back, so I'm going to throw out my hook and see if I can reel him in. The reeling is working. The person in third looks relatively relaxed, so either he's holding something in the tank or I'm going to get a shock when I pass him. We're heading to the highest point now, which means we have about a kilometre of pretty much continuous uphill. We come through that kilometre in 3:58. I want this fellow to join me as we kick for the line. I'm giving him a little flick on my wrist and fair play, he's jumped on. It's nice because this can be a lonely course if you're in no man's land. I can hear his footsteps falling back a bit now, but who knows, he might cause me trouble again when we turn around. For a course that's basically an out and back, it's exceptionally well marshalled. There are people at every turning point making sure no one runs off, or at least not accidentally. We're at the steepest part before the finish, about 6 to 7%, with a final kick up to 8 or maybe even 9% at that turnaround. But what goes up must come down, and we have a nice long downhill for the next kilometre until we reach the final 150 metre sprint uphill. Yes, 150 metres uphill at the finish is not fun. Bath is built on 7 ancient volcanoes, so basically everything is either up or downhill. Coming through the 4th kilometre in exactly 4 minutes. Nice symmetry. I can't really see first and second, and 4th place has dropped back. I want to keep an eye on him though. I don't want anyone to pit me at the end. Although, I should remember, parkrun is a run, not a race. The pace is dropping as we have a little kick up over the bridge. I don't have much time to play with if I want to keep it under 20 minutes. With 650 metres to go, I seem comfortable enough, but we're starting to meet some of the back markers, so I'm having to whip out my best side step, but it honestly wasn't even that good when I was 18, so it's pretty woeful now. Final push, heart rate is the 180s, 200 metres left, and 150 metres of that is uphill. Once we pass this marshal, it's a sprint. Don't forget to subscribe, it's always a great boost to know there's people enjoying these videos when I'm going through the pain of running the races. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty pleased with keeping the pace in the 3 minutes for this, but I'm not sure how long we're going to keep it as we hit 15% up this hill. Oof, there we go, there goes the pace. The pace has dropped. At this gradient, my sprint is more of a power waddle. As my heart rate flies into the 180s, suddenly my dad's twisted ankle is looking like a genius tactical move. It's pretty tough, come on, you've only got about 50 metres to go. I think the watch is going to run a little bit long, which means we're not going to quite finish on 5 kilometres. It's going to be a little bit over, which is never fun, as you don't want to be having to run any further than you have to, but keep on driving those legs, come on mate, you got it. And as I head for the line, we see first and second already collecting their tokens, and oh, that was, as you can tell from my breathing, tough. I finished in 19:18, a PB for 2026, which was never going to be too hard with it being my first 5k of the year. Finished in 3rd place, first and second were a good 40 seconds ahead of me. That was tough, but I thoroughly recommend it. It's a challenge and not the fastest course, but if you're in Bath, definitely give it a go.